Hey there everyone, welcome back to our guide on Rimworld of Magic. Today, we'll be taking a look at the Enchanter class. The Enchanter is a fairly unique character in Rimworld of Magic, as unlike many of the classes I've been looking at, they are almost explicitly not a combat class. Most of their abilities actually are not useful in combat almost at all. But I want to start talking about the abilities that might be. Enchant Weapon enchants a melee weapon equipped by a target pawn. The enchanted weapon gains an elemental property of either ice, fire, lightning, or dark. Enchanted weapons require an allotment of mana equal to the casting cost to sustain. The number of weapon enchantments is limited only by the enchanter's mana capacity. The enchantment will only remain active as long as the pawn holds the enchanted weapon. If dropped or swapped, the enchantment will disperse. Weapon enchantments only affect melee weapons. So this just adds some damage to your weapons with some minor elemental effects. Fire is just additional damage, and can set targets on fire. Ice reduces the efficiency of struck body parts. Lightning stuns enemies, and darkness blinds them. Elemental Edge increases the power of the weapon enchantment, so 33% damage for fire, 25% for ice, 25% stun duration for lightning, and 10% blindness for dark. Elemental Weaving decreases the mana cost for enchant weapon. This is just genuinely sort of a somewhat nifty ability. If you're going to be caught out in combat, it's nice to enchant the weapons of your allies. Enchanted Body, you grow extra limbs to improve manipulation and increase the fighting speed. This enchantment tends to make the enchanter look quite horrifying and can alarm other pawns. This spell is sustained and reduces max mana as well as mana regen. Only one enchantment type may be active at a given time, and this refers, of course, to Enchantment Aura, which radiates a charming aura that disarms social barriers and improves social interaction. So, enchanters can take on one of these two forms. With Enchant Body, it says they grow extra arms. You're not going to see it represented on the character at all, but you will see it in the form of increased manipulation, hunger rate tiredness, immunity gain speed, pain shock threshold, and decreased aim time. With Enchanted Aura, you'll see it in the form of improved hearing, talking, decreased mental break threshold, increased social impact, trade price improvement, and negotiation ability. This can be improved in 3 ways. Mind over Body improves the power of the enchantment by 33% per skill. Compliant reduces the mana upkeep, and Adaptation reduces the mana regeneration penalty. So, we've got the basic level 1, which does 20% hearing, 25% talking, 10% mental break threshold, 30% social impact, 5% trade price improvement, and 25% negotiation ability. As we move up Mind over Body, we can see that it goes up by about 5% on each. This is an okay ability. Enchanted Aura, I'm not so sure about. Affecting the mental break threshold is pretty good. It makes the character a little bit more mentally stable, and of course, improving your trade prices is always fantastic. Enchanted Body will let you fight better and work a bit better, though becoming hungry and tired faster is a bit of a, it's not great. However, I think it's overall pretty useful to have if you're going to have the character mining or producing anything. Polymorph is a bit of a gimmick ability. It'll transform the pawn in the area into a random beast. Polymorph creatures will retain enough of its original self to recognize and be enraged by its predicament. Allies can be controlled and drafted, but will still exhibit animal behavior without a specific task. Yeah, so we have our tiefling allies here, and if you want, we can go ahead and try to polymorph them. As you can see, one of them's turned into a chicken, and one has turned into a bunny rabbit. That's actually pretty funny. They don't have any training. Wow. Not even a useful chicken or bunny. The third character resisted, which is a little bit unfortunate. This can be upgraded in 4 ways. Reduce resistance. Reduces the target's chance to resist. Resistance is affected by arcane resistance and psychic sensitivity of the target. Seamless decreases the cost. Loose Ends increases the duration of the polymorph and applies more control over the creature combat powers for enemies and allies. and then polymorph itself, which increases the primary factors such as maximum targets, radius, range, cast time. Around the colony, enchanters have a handful of very nifty abilities that will allow them to greatly aid your colony. Blank Mind wipes the memories of a pawn and breaks them out of the mental state, but will induce a brief period of confusion as they gather their wits. When used on enemies, it will apply a mental freeze, stunning the enemy for a brief period. AoE effects only applied when the primary target is not a friendly pawn. Friendly pawns will lose both good and bad memories. So, let's say we're just here hanging out with a bunch of our tiefling allies when suddenly, Adventure here goes completely berserk. Bug run. And they start beating the absolute crap out of our allies. And Bug here can go ahead and cast Blank Mind directly on Adventure, and as you can see, they go from being berserk to being in a confused state. This will last a bit, but it's significantly better than them continuing to beat the crap out of their allies. It's just genuinely a very useful ability. This can help maintain peace in your colony, though it has a 600-second cooldown, so let's hope that you don't get a whole bunch of mental breakdowns in a row. Just like any other hidden technique, this can't really be enhanced through level ups at all, except for by upgrading Clarity, Focus, or Spirit. The next ability I'd like to look at is one that's a bit hard to talk about on its own, and that is the Enchanter's Stone ability. Enchanter's Stone allows the Enchanter to convert a single natural resource into an artifact. What I have on screen right now is a table that shows you what can be turned into what. This is from the Rimworld of Magic.fandom.com wiki. As you can see, there's a number of resources which can be turned into rather powerful artifacts. One of my favorites being turning granite into a ring of labor. I'll put a link down in the description to this table if you're interested in checking it out. But the way you use it is you just take your Enchanter here, you walk over to any resource, and you cast the Enchanter's Stone ability on what you mean to target. So, we have a marble chunk here. If we look at our table, this gives us the Mind Ward Pendant, which grants 10% consciousness and allows breaking from mental statuses occasionally, which is pretty dope. So, if our Enchanter just goes and casts on that piece of marble right there, we see the Mind Ward Pendant. This is a very powerful ability. As you can see, it's pretty costly, but this Mind Ward Pendant does not need to be worn by the Enchanter themselves. It can be worn by anybody within the colony. So if you have somebody who's going to have a mental breakdown and you have marble nearby, you can create a Mind Ward Pendant. So, if we give the Mind Ward Pendant to our friend Daniel, the tiefling here, if we look, alright, it doesn't seem to be improving his consciousness. Social? Nope, nothing there. Here we go. Mind Ward, an improved disposition by 5 points. This is a really nice ability to have. If you've got a bunch of people in your settlement and you've got a lot of those materials listed on the chart, you can pretty well specialize people or even just give them all Mind Ward Pendants. Now, remember that each instance of this will drain your maximum mana, so that's a thing well worth keeping in mind. This can be upgraded in two ways. Subatomic Control reduces the mana required to cast Enchanter's Stone by 10% and reduces the mana upkeep by 2 points per level. I would say this is practically, this is required for Enchanter's Stone. If you're going to have Enchanter's Stone, you need Subatomic Control here, just so you can maintain actually having your own mana, especially if you're going to give these artifacts to multiple people. Material Matters allows the Enchanter to create artifacts out of more resource types. This costs 2 points per level to train. It starts out with stone chunks, moves on to steel, iron, silver, moves on to herbal medicine, jade, and wood, and then on to gold and magicite finally. Yeah, it's genuinely nifty. You know, if we look back at this chart here, at its highest level, being able to get the increased learning factors on everything, or having a jade ring, which makes it easier to recover from arcane weakness. Arcane weakness can be a severe problem for prolific casters. So yeah, it's amazing. Alright, but our next and final ability is called Transmute. This transmutes one material into another material of equal or greater value. The amount of new material created from the old material is based on the value of the old material. Some material will be consumed in the conversion process. This only works on raw resources and bricks by default, but can be upgraded to transmute other materials. So if we go and chop down some wood and check it, we see that it has a market value of $1.2 per piece of wood. Our Enchanter is now able to transmute that into something that costs $1.2 times 52 here, so $60 or less. So we transmute our wood, and we come out with $12 pieces of fox fur. Look at that, 350 times 12, so that's worth about $42. But of course, we can make vests and beds and bedrolls out of fox fur, which we couldn't do with wood. This ability is a bit strange, honestly. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about it. This ability can be upgraded in 4 different ways. Number 1 is conversion rate. Decreases the amount of value lost by 5% per skill level when performing a transmutation. Base conversion is 70%, so the value will go from 100 to 72. Transmuting equipment will degrade the equipment, as you see on the chart here. Equipment will disintegrate if it degrades below 0 durability. Equipment transmutation will always remove the tainted quality. That last part's really important, so if you get a lot of tainted armors, you can cast transmutation on it in order to untaint it, although it will just turn it into a random piece of armor. Transformation cost reduces the mana cost, of course, by 12% per level, so that's 2, 4, 6, we'll say like 7 mana at most. That's fine. Material application. Transmutations can be cast on more complex materials, starting with raw resources such as stone, steel, silver, wood, and so on. Then it moves up to food, which will convert to pemmican or nutrient paste. It can transmute corpses, which will be converted into nutrient paste, and then it can transmute equipment. It applies to equipment made from stuff, randomly transmutes to stuff in the same category. So if we just upgrade our material application ability there, and we have our good demon scale plate armor here, we can go ahead and cast Transmute on it. And we come out with uranium plate mail, sitting at 80%. This, of course, will also remove the tainted feature. This, I think, can be rather useful, especially that last bit there. But I did say there was a 4th way to upgrade this, and that is because this is technically a right-click spell. But this would be an awful right-click spell, wouldn't it? If you could just use it anywhere. That's why it's not just used anywhere. You have to create a stockpile. So we're going to create a stockpile zone here in our 6x6, and then we need to create a second zone over that stockpile, which is allowed for transmutations. Now, anything that goes into this stockpile zone is allowed to be transmuted. So one of the things you don't want to do is have a generalized stockpile zone where you're allowed to randomly transmute anything in it. This can lead to you losing a lot of valuable items. I'm pretty sure he just started converting our survival meals into nutrient paste. But this can allow the automated conversion of tainted armor into non-tainted armor. If you have an enchanter with rank 3 material application as well, this allows you to take straight up corpses and turn them into nutrient paste, which people might not hate. Let's say we have our friend Kobold here who died recently, but we're pretty low on food. We're just gonna check our needs. So we're grieving that a colonist died, but we're gonna transmute him. We're gonna see what happens here. So bam, he turns in to nutrient paste meal. Can we force you to, oh, we can't force you, you don't eat. But what if we have our tiefling friend consume this? Are they gonna object? Ate awful meal, ate without a table, but nothing about eating. A human-like. That's fantastic. So, if you want, if you have level 2 material application, you can convert corpses into food for your colony. It's not necessarily the best quality food, but it's something. Can we, hold on, can we further transmute that? Can we transmute that into pemmican? Doesn't look like it. That's unfortunate. And it says meals. Hold on. All right. So we're gonna just put all 9 points into our transmutation ability. And we have our dead tiefling friend here. Goddamn, poor dead tiefling friend. What if we go transmute tiefling friend? All right, now that's going to cost us 11.2. All right, here we go. Bombard our tiefling friend with transmutation. They're now 4 nutrient paste meals. Can we convert that into pemmican? We can. That's fantastic. And now, if we have a non-cannibal, right? So Momer here has no idea that this is a person, I believe, and they're not a cannibal. So what if they eat it? Are they going to complain about eating a human-like? Ate without a table, but not ate awful meals, and not ate a human-like. That's fantastic. So, being able to convert stuff from one material to the next is pretty good. Being able to convert corpses into food. This is a character who just takes raids and turns them into value for the settlement itself. But what do you guys think of the Enchanter? I'd like to know your thoughts down in the description below. If you guys are interested in Rimworld of Magic, I will leave a link to the table that I used, as well as Rimworld of Magic and Cures class add-ons in the description down below. That way you guys can check them out. As well, we have a Discord where we talk about Rimworld of Magic, Rimworld, magic and video games, and mods in general. Plus, I try to stream 3 times a week over on Twitch, and you can join us there where we play Rimworld using Rimworld of Magic because it just adds so much to the game. In the meantime, though, just remember, nobody's cares. Thank you very much and good night. We know this man's one weakness. Piddle on him! Piddle for your life! Just pee on the bad guy. Pee on the bad guy. Yes! Get pissed. All right. We're going. We're just gonna go now.